Oh my goodness. Yes.
Yes, Queen.
Yes. Slay Queen. Carly, I see Carly. Shout out to my girl. I feel like we're all
What do you
friends.
feel like?
I feel like I love this meeting because it's going to continue to grow, and it's just so nice and personal, and I don't know. I just think it's
So what we got going on? You got a camera up there.
Okay.
You also are gonna have a camera right here. So when you are actually speaking, you'll have that. You'll speak for about 20-25 minutes, and
Cool.
then we'll open it up for sharing amongst the group.
But you don't have to like focus on the camera. You could just
Just talk.
tell
Yeah.
your story to us, you know.
That'll work.
As long as you're talking to like her and I, they'll see you perfectly. You don't really have to talk. Like when we're like right now, that camera's on. You can see us up there in the screen. What's happening, guys?
Hey, everybody. Valerie, Chuck, Claire, Kat, Gina, Katie,
Katie, Justin.
Justin. yeah,
Justin's in
baby.
the house.
Yeah, he's really come around, man. He was a little standoffish.
No,
But
he
you
wasn't.
guys,
He
no,
was
you
shy.
guys, no, he is not. You guys,
I know
do
he's not. I'm
I
just grinding, man.
I
I've been
follow him
following-
on. I follow
I
him
know.
on
Yes,
Instagram.
yeah,
The
so do
dude
I.
knows his
Everything.
shit.
Yeah, he does. He does. He does. That is for fucking sure.
Can you throw the mouse on everybody? We got Amy, Julian. What's going on, my man?
Julian.
I actually talked about you
Yeah.
today on
Ryan,
a podcast.
not Frank. I
What did it say?
said Ryan, not Frank. We must have called him Frank the other day.
Wait, that's hilarious. That's amazing.
Is your name Ryan, not Frank? All right.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Chad.
birthday, Chad. Nice.
Nice.
Thank
See you later, brother. Take it easy, man. See you tomorrow.
Have fun at school. Study hard.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting ready to get started.
Yeah.
Is everybody in that's supposed to be in? It says 18, but I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
18.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
4 rows of 4 and then now 19.
20.
20.
There you go.
There's 20.
21. Where are they?
21.
They're keeping their cameras off.
Charlene, Lorena, Marquise.
All right, guys, let's get
Yeah.
started.
Get rolling.
Welcome to the Tuesday night Recover Out Loud meeting.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Out loud.
Super excited. Shane's back from
Yes.
Mexico.
Yeah.
Welcome back,
So we can't-
Shane.
Thank you.
We can't keep him muted anymore.
No.
The
Yeah,
trio,
baby.
the trio is back.
Yeah.
The band is back together.
We also have a special guest, couple of special guests in the studio tonight. You guys want to say your name? No.
Risky.
I was talking to the people. Oh. We got Jonathan Coyle in the house
Yeah.
tonight. Natalie's husband's here.
My
Whoop,
better
whoop.
half. My better half.
We got Emily on the mixing machine.
Yeah.
So you guys already know how that will go. It'll be trial and error throughout the meeting. So
No,
we'll see
Emily's
how
got
she
it
does.
down. She knows how to take care of us.
Shots fired.
We just tease her. We just tease her. You know we love you, Emily.
We're missing a mute. Somebody's not on mute. But I do want to say, guys, welcome to the Recover Out Loud meeting. What is that? Oh, really? Somebody just keeps coming in and being silly.
Oh.
That's funny. Maybe they need help.
Oh, you know why? It's because. All right. Again, welcome to the Recover Out Loud meeting. Just a reminder that this meeting is streamed live on YouTube. So if you do share, you will potentially be on.
100%. Not
Well, you'll
potential.
potentially be on our socials
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forever.
forever.
Yeah. Until the world burns down to rubble.
Is that Jordan? Did did Jordan just show up to the meeting?
Jordan.
There's Jordan.
Yes.
Just a reminder though that this is just an add-on to what you guys already do on a normal basis to stay clean and sober and
Healthy.
serene.
Yeah.
So continue doing all of that stuff on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
We're not a program. We are a support group. We are a movement.
Yeah.
We want to bring awareness to the fentanyl crisis.
Yes. That's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
priority right there, bro.
That's
Yeah.
priority
That's
number
priority
one,
number
man.
one right there.
Just so you guys know, it's 2024, man, and that's an election year, man.
Yeah.
And if they're
Yeah.
not talking, if they're just talking about fentanyl and not doing anything about fentanyl, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear from.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
tired of
There
it.
you go.
You know, as you all know, the Hopeaholics podcast started because I lost my son-in-law
Yeah.
to fentanyl on 9/11/2022. I don't think that you don't want your child
Mm.
to ever find the love of her life dead.
Mm.
And especially from something that could be stopped. Fentanyl is a crisis, and we all joined the Recover Out Loud meeting. Myself, Shane, Natalie, we joined the movement to recover out loud, so people don't have to die in silence, man. And that's what it's all about for us tonight. You want to introduce our guest, Shane?
Yeah, we got Risky in the house today.
Yeah.
He's
Hello?
tatted,
Hello?
I think, from head to fucking toe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Good
If I'm
tats
not
on his
mistaken.
head too, man.
And I'll
I'm
tell you
liking
something.
it.
We're looking down. He has an eye right there. Sick. Really sick.
Yeah.
Will you hit that remove?
Yeah. So he's going to share with us for what, 20, 23, 24, 25 minutes?
Yeah.
We'll pick a 20 number.
However long you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
And open it up to sharing. And then we'll keep the sharing down to, we're going to try 1 to 2 minutes. If you need 3, take it. But if not, we're going to cut you off. We got a lot of people in the house and a lot of people want to share. So
It's pretty awesome.
thanks
Yeah.
to everybody. Yeah.
All right. You're up.
Yeah. bro.
Sounds good.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I'm Andre. Everybody does call me Risky. It's kind of a weird thing that I've had that name for so long and tried to bury it, and then it just came back out of the woodwork. So I just accepted it and
Yep.
started rolling with it. The only person who really hates it is my wife. She despises that name. But she's had
Sorry.
to
Yeah,
trudge with me
way to
over
go.
the last decade with that name and
Yeah.
everything that came with it. So, but now we're sober and things are changing. So, I have a sobriety date of 2/12/21. I come from a family of insanity and toxic behavior, and my father was a crackhead, and he was a crackhead gang member from Los Angeles, from Jordan Downs Projects, and my mom is from her family's from Pennsylvania, back east, and she is a extreme codependent, put on your cape, save everybody, and sweep everything under the rug so nobody knows our business kind of a woman. Very, very Italian, right? And so that's where I come from. A lot of cop calling, a lot of domestic violence, a lot of chaos, a lot of drug use, a lot of alcoholism, a lot of insanity, and I call it my childhood, right? That's just the way it kind of was. So, I make this joke that says, I always say, like, I grew up in the church, not because I went to church on Sundays, but because we were that poor, and my grandmother owned a church, and we lived in one of the classrooms in the church growing up, and she was a pastor, so we were always in her services, and we were always in the church all the time, every day, and that was a weird dynamic to have a father who was a crackhead and a grandmother who was a pastor, and we were all under the same compound, right? It was a lot. So, as time grew on, my dad continued to be my dad. The crazy thing is that my dad, growing up, before I was born, he was a very successful drummer. He was a professional drummer. He was a drummer in a band back in the day called the Platters. He was the first drummer in that band. He was at Woodstock. He was around very famous people. He was, well known. And all that did was give him enough money to buy a lot of crack cocaine. That's really all it did. It fueled his drug use and his alcoholism, and that was his demise, being in front of the cameras and being in front of the limelight as long as he was. So I remember growing up, all the conversations that came out of his mouth was, "I'm going to get the band back together. We're going back on tour," right? And that never came to fruition. It was just his pipe dreams, because that's all he had was like it was like the Al Bundy story, right? 4 touchdowns, 1 game,
Yeah.
poke high. That was his life, and he lived in the past, and that's just all he had. So he held on to it with everything he had. Moving forward, I was introduced to different lifestyles. After my mother and my father, they divorced after 17 years. He left, and he moved to Georgia. And when he moved to Georgia, I was kind of like the young, chaotic man of the house, but I didn't understand what that meant. So I also didn't understand what it meant to be a man. I never really had that influential person in my life to show me what a man really was. My dad never paid bills or worked a 9 to 5 or, left every day to go to a job. He was just home, right? So I never really had that that view of what that person was. And as I grew older, I just found it in the streets. And as I grew into be a teenager, I found it in the streets. I found it with my homeboys. I found it everywhere I didn't need it, but I needed it so bad that I gravitated to anything that would show me some stability. And those were my homeboys. And that's pretty much what I went to. They taught me a lot of things. Being a man wasn't one of them. They taught me how to be violent. They taught me how to be chaotic again, but in my own right. They taught me, how to sell drugs. They taught me how to make money. They taught me how to support myself. They taught me how to live a lifestyle that was rebellious, and I loved that shit. I loved everything about it, and I could honestly say at that age, growing up, I wanted nothing more than just to do that. That I had arrived. That was it, right? And then as I grew a little bit older, I remember the day. It was December 22nd, 1993. It was the first time I ever did meth. I remember it like it was yesterday because that was the day that it tragically changed my life. I know exactly where I was going. I was going to a youth Bible study with my junior high friends, and everybody in my junior high that we're all in our circle went to this certain church, and we would go to this youth church, and we would hang out every Wednesday and Saturday night and Sunday, and we would just hang out. It was like our little spot to be. And when I showed up, there was a few of my homeboys that were getting high, and I got high with them. And it was just, I wanted to be part of. I didn't want to feel less than or out of the loop, so I got high with them. And that completely changed every bit of my future from that day forward. I don't think there was a day that I wasn't high after that for the next 25 years.
Wow.
I never stopped getting loaded. And that was my I have arrived moment. All the insecurities, all the feeling less than, all the I'm not good enough vanished. Like I was unstoppable. And I chased that feeling inside of my gut for many, many years. The only times I was sober was whenever the wheels fell off and the axle broke and I was pushing the car and I went to prison, right? That's the only time I stopped doing anything that I was doing because I had no ability to keep on doing it. Otherwise, I would have still been loaded. That's just the reality. So I did that for a long time, and going to prison, getting out of prison, all that stuff. All it really did was turn me into a more advanced criminal and a more advanced gang member, right? And I met more connects from, when you go to prison, you're around people who are from your county. And when I would go, I'd meet people from my county, and I would hang out with them, and we would happen to have the same parole date. And then whenever I would get their contact and I'd parole, and we would hang out, and then I had a whole new group of, abilities to get more dope so I could get bigger and bigger in this facade that I wanted to be this kingpin of Orange County, right? And that's what I did. So as a result of that, I have 5 prison terms for trafficking high volume methamphetamines, right? And I spent a lot of time by myself in a cell because I don't play well with others, right? And whenever you're coming down off of as much methamphetamines and that I was coming down off of, you go into psychosis. And they tried to stabilize me with as many medications as they possibly could because I was off the Richter scales. I was insane and, shooting dope every day and not having a limit and just driving my life into the ground, right? I didn't see any way out of it. And throughout all this time, I'm constantly grabbing new hostages, right? People call them girlfriends. I call them hostages because I would just take them and they were just with me, right? And as much as they wanted to probably leave, I just didn't let them go, right? They were my hostages. And I met my now wife when I was getting out of prison in one of my prison terms, and she was a friend of a friend, and we met and hated each other off the bat. So it was true love in the making. Over time we continued to have conversations. She knew I was a drug addict and gang member, and I knew that she had nothing to do with this lifestyle. So whenever I got loaded, I would pull back, and whenever I was sober, I would continue conversations. Those kind of things. And then it got to a point, man, where I just didn't want to get high anymore. And, but I didn't know how not to get high. I'd already been to like a dozen rehabs, and everybody who goes to rehabs are always like, rehab didn't work for me. It's because you just sat there for 30 fucking days and you didn't do shit, right? You never opened the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. You didn't open any book. You didn't do any steps. You just tried to get it vicariously through everybody else who was working a program, and it didn't work for you, right? So that was my story, and I was sticking by it, and then, later on down the line, I really tried to do this thing. I really did. And I was sober for about 4 or 5 years. And me and my wife moved in together. And our only rule was, we can get through anything, just don't bring drugs into my house. And I was like, done. Absolutely. You could have hooked me up to a lie detector test and I would have passed it with flying colors. There was no ifs, ands, or buts in my mind. I was never going to get loaded again. It was too perfect of a situation that I had never had before, and I wasn't going to fuck it up. There was just no way, right? And that lasted for a couple of years. It really did. Until, it says in the big book of Alcoholics, not a cloud in the sky, right? There was not a cloud in the sky. And it's like, we don't relapse when things are going bad. We relapse when they're going good. When everything's going great, that's whenever we decide to derail the train and fuck everything up. And, one night we lived around the corner from a 7-Eleven, and I don't know if anybody else has a fixation for 7-Eleven cookies, but I do. Those snickerdoodles have me by the balls, man. You know what I mean? So I told the wife, I said, I'm going to go to the store real quick and get some snickerdoodle cookies and some zoom zooms and wham whams, and I'll be back, And I went to the 7-Eleven, and I'm getting my cookies, and this guy pulls up in a Harley, and I've been known to maybe ride a Harley or two in my time, right? And I said, hey, nice bike. And he was like, thanks, bro. And as he's walking away, he says, hey, you need anything?
Oh, my goodness.
And I turned around and was like, what do you got, right? And mind you, I'm a few years sober already, right? Not working a program, strictly abstinent, but off of any mind-altering substances. Yeah. And he told me, he's like, I got white, I got black, what do you need? And I'd been removed for a little while now. So I was like, well, what's the white going for nowadays, right? And he gives me the price, and I was like, well, I feel like I need to at least buy a bag, right? Just for quality control purposes, if you're going to be in the area I live at now, right? So literally, I walked back into the 7-Eleven, went to the ATM, pulled out some cash, and bought an 8-ball of dope. And I remember it like it was yesterday. Like, and dope fiends do this whenever we never put our hands in our pockets, but let you have a little crumb of dope in your pocket, and you grip that shit in your pocket like it's all of a sudden going to jump out of your Levi's, right? It's never done it before, but today it could be the day. And I remember walking into the house and gripping this dope in my pocket and trying to pass off the cookies as I got this dope in my pocket and put it in my nightstand before she could see it. And the thought of the dope in my nightstand never left my mind the entire night. And I don't know if I slept 2 winks of sound sleep thinking about that dope in my nightstand all night long. And the second I woke up in the morning and she went to work, I went to the bathroom and I got loaded. And I proceeded to get loaded every single day after that. But I don't blend in as a drug addict. I'm not a weekend warrior kind of a guy. I go all in, and I start looking like a glazed donut, and my eyeballs look like Bambi, and I just can't hide these things. And my wife let it go on for a little while, and until the shit hit the fan, and it blew up. And when it blew up, we got in a giant argument. I remember the day we got in a giant argument. We were on our way to Hobby Lobby because we were trying to do some stuff for the holidays. It was the holiday time, and we were going to get some decorations for the house. And we we're going to Hobby Lobby, and it just blew up in the car. And instant U-turn back to the house. We're going to square this away. I'm packing my shit. I'm out of here like every respectable dope fiend, right? I'm out of here, right? And we got to the house, and we're arguing, and we're fighting, which we had never done to that day. Me and my wife had never had an argument. and we're screaming at each other in the house. And we just thought we were just screaming at each other, and nobody else was really paying any mind to it. And that was far from the truth. And as I'm walking out to put some stuff in my Harley, because I'm going to rebel outlaw it and just jump on my Harley and ride into the sunset and get away from this crazy bitch who's not fucking letting me get loaded, right? I'm going to show her, you know. I walked outside, and there was about 5 police cars. And they were surrounding the front of the house. And they said, "Hey, Andre, let me talk to you for a second." I was like, fuck, they know my name. They know me. How do they know me? Right? And they got me. They got my pipe in my pocket, the dope sack in my hard bags, and my Harley Davidson, and you know, like every good dopey, and I had a broken scale that was in there. It didn't work, but it was in there. So all of a sudden, that's a sales charge, right? And they took me to jail, and then come to find out that my son called the police because he was scared, because he had never heard us argue before. He had never heard me yell at her before, and it traumatized him and hit him so hard he knew nothing else to do but to call for help. And it was probably the smartest decision he could have ever made. And when they came, they arrested me. And I went to jail. And, you know, I got out the next day. I called some of my homeboys who were bail bondsmen, and I got out the next day. And when I got into the waiting room the next day, my mother-in-law's in the waiting room. And I was like, see, everything smoothed over. It was cool. I just needed a night in jail, and I'll be back at the pad, you know? And she turned around and looked at me and handed me 2 manila envelopes, big-ass, heavy manila envelopes. And I was like, what's this shit? She said, "You have been served." Wow. And turned around and walked away. And she served me with a restraining order and divorce papers in 24 hours, less than 24 hours.
Wow. Like,
they were on some skyrocket emergency shit, right? And I still give my wife credit for that.
Yeah,
That was
that's
amazing.
That
was some gangster shit, right?
I love that. Yeah.
You have been served,
Yep.
right? And I was like, but wait, all my stuff is at your house. And she was like, you don't have stuff anymore, right? You don't have anything. And figure it out. And I used at her for the next 2.5 years.
Wow.
And I spiraled myself out for the next 2.5 years, from sleeping on couches to sleeping in garages to scrounging for whatever I could in the beginning, until some homeboy who was really looking out for me dropped a fat sack in my lap, and it started my, you know, kingpin ideology again. And by the time it was all said and done, I had a crime, bail crime, trafficking, high volume, and I had 9 confidential informants that were willing to testify, saying they were scared for their lives. And I was facing 32 years in prison. She had already left me, right? And wanted nothing to do with me. And everybody was terrified of me because, you know, I'm not the nicest guy on the block when I start shooting meth and, you know, running amok and selling drugs. I don't know anybody who is, but I was on straight survival mode. And I was taking anybody and everybody down with me in my insanity that I possibly could touch. And if you were around me in that time, you were better off if you never heard my name. I was a nightmare. So I'm facing all this time, and I go to plea out, and you know, lo and behold, God comes into the picture. She comes back into the picture. She hires me a lawyer, and they can't use any of my past prison terms against me in my new sentencing. And that was the only thing that saved my life. And I took a deal for 3 years for the dope, and they threw the rest of the little bullshit out. And I did 3 years in the county, in Piedmont and Theo Lacey. Did 3 years in the county. And when I got out, we had already reestablished our relationship whenever I was getting out. And, you know, everybody else in the house didn't really feel like it was a hot idea if I came back home. But, you know, I tell you, in the time that I was in jail, after I fought that case, I think me and my wife talked more in that timeline than we ever did the beginning whole 9, 7, 8 years of our relationship. Like, we really talked and about the good, the bad, the ugly. We never planned for the future because we didn't really know what that looked like. But we talked about today and where we were at today. And it was the realest connection that we really had. Everything else was pretty face value. I didn't really want to let you in. I really don't want to let you know who I am, because I'm ashamed of that. And my ashamed feelings of my insides are going to either make me lash out on you, or I'm just going to shut down. So we never really talked about any of those things. But when I got home, I got out of prison, I got home, and I couldn't use dope anymore. Didn't want to use dope anymore. I had pretty much ruled that out. Dope is not an option on the table anymore. And but I also had never been to a bar before. Unless I sold a bag of dope, I never went to a bar. So when I got home, my wife and I would go to the bar, and I felt so grown, right? Like, go to the bar and get a double Jack on the rocks. Like, that just sounded adult. You know what I mean? And I'd never done that shit before. And we did that often. And we would go to the bar, and it would just be round after round after round after round after round until we were borderline blacked out, and we don't remember how we drove home, but we got there. And we knew we got there because we woke up in our bed, probably with our clothes on still, and tried to figure it out through pictures in the phone of the previous night and how it timelined and how we got to the house. So we did that for quite a while until I came to the realization, because I'm a smart alcoholic, that why are we spending so much money at the bar? We could just go buy a couple bottles and just go home, and then we're already home, right? So we did that. And, you know, I had to stop drinking Jack Daniels because it was messing with my ulcers, but I could drink vodka. And, you know, fast forward on that, it got to the point where I was drinking a handle of vodka a day, and I was sprinkling a few beers in between that because I wanted to be social with my neighbors and not look like a raging alcoholic to my mother-in-law, who was still living in our house, right? So I would drink about a handle of vodka a day, and I was still working. I was still going to a job. I was still handling my business. I was still paying bills. I was still being responsible. But every morning I wake up about 5:30 in the morning, and I would walk to the freezer, and I would hope that I had at least 2 fingers of vodka left in that bottle so I could stomach that down, because I was shaking so violently and I didn't know how to make it stop. And I would try to stomach that down so I could get into the shower, so I could get dressed, so I could go to work. And on my way to work, I would stop at the 7-Eleven before I got to the office, and I'd buy 2 pints of vodka. And I would put 1 pint of vodka in the desk drawer. I would grab a white cup, and I would drink 1 in the morning. And then I would go to lunch, and I'd go back to that 7-Eleven. I'd get 2 Natty Daddy tall cans because I'm fucking classy, right? And because it was the highest percentage beer that I could get. And I would drink those in the parking lot during my lunch break, and I'd go back upstairs, and I'd drink the other pint. And then on my way home, I would grab another handle of vodka, and I'd grab some White Claws because they were really in whenever she was drinking. And then I'd go to the house, and we'd do it again. And I would chug that bottle down until I had at least 2 or 3 fingers, and I'd force myself to stop. And I'd put that in the freezer, and I would rinse and repeat. And we did that for, a couple of years. And then one day I woke up, and I was like, I just can't do this, right? There was something wrong with me inside. I could feel it. You know, it got to the point where I was pissing blood, and I didn't understand why. But like a good alcoholic, you never go to the doctor. You just drink more to numb anything that feels crazy inside of you. But I knew that something was wrong. Throwing up for absolutely no reason, standing in the middle of a conversation and just throw up. And there would be blood in my vomit, and I just didn't understand what was going on, but I was always in pain, right? So one day I came to her and I said, I think I'm gonna go to detox. And you know, like every great wife, she was like, you should, you have a problem, right? Super supportive. And I called detoxes, and they would say, hey, how much do you drink? And I would tell them for their PA in the beginning of the initiation call, and I would tell them how much I drink, and they would say, no, really, how much do you drink? And I would tell them again, and they're like, you can't come here. You need a medical facility. There's no way that we can allow you to be here, because if you go into seizures while you're detoxing, then we're gonna have to send you the ER anyway, and there's no way we can help you out, so you might as well just go to a medical facility right off the bat. So I found this really classy joint called College Hospital, and I went there. She dropped me off. I drank a couple tall cans in the parking lot before I walked in, so I could stop the shakes just a little bit. And I walked in, and they gave me 2 hospital gowns, one opening in the front, one open in the back, and some tan grippy socks, you know, to put on. And that was all I got the entire time I was there. And I thought I would be there for like 7, 10, who knows days. And they kept me for 3 days. And as soon as my hands stopped shaking, they told me I was ready to go. And I walked out of that place on February 14th. 2021 on Valentine's Day. I was like, baby, daddy's coming home. And she was like, fuck, right? Because she was still drinking. And I wanted to be sober. When I went to that detox, I got some blood work done and found out that I had extreme pancreatitis and that my liver was 3 times its normal size. And the doctor was telling me that he asked me when my birthday was, and I said July. And he said, if you keep drinking the way you're drinking, by the time you get to your birthday, I'm going to be admitting you in this hospital and I will not be able to release you. But today you have an exit date. So take advantage of that. And I took heed to that. Because as selfish as I've always been, I don't want to die, right? So I took it seriously, and I got home, and she was still drinking, and I didn't care. And I went to meetings every single day. And I got on this meeting app, and I went to meetings every single day, without fail, sometimes 2 or 3. I needed to do anything I needed to do to be able to not feel the way I felt, think the way I was thinking, and act in any way that was disrespectful to myself. So that's what I did. And I never stopped going to meetings. And then I found a sponsor about 30 days in, 40 days in, after white knuckling it and trying to figure it all out. I found a sponsor who was the polar opposite of anything I am. He had been sober for 20 years. He had a Cadillac. He owned a home. He had a beautiful girl, right? And he knew how to pay bills, and he was responsible. And I knew nothing about that. So when he spoke, he was calm. In his demeanor, in his presence, he was peaceful, and he was patient. And that was the extreme opposite of who I was. I was very aggressive, assertive. I wanted it yesterday. Fuck today. I want it yesterday. That man was patient with me, and he walked me through the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. And he showed me the way to stay humble, teachable, and be of service. And that was the things that we practice on a daily basis. I remember being 60 days sober, and he was like, come on, we're going to go speak on this panel. I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do speaking on a panel at 60 days? And he's like, you know what's cool about 60 days? I was like, what? And he's like, it's not 59 days. Yeah. So go speak to somebody who has less time than you, right? Get out of yourself because you're not that important, right? So that's what we did. And it catapulted the journey of this life that I'm on right now. Without me saying to my wife, I think you have a problem. I think you should come to Alcoholics Anonymous. I didn't say a fucking word because it's none of my business, right? As a member of Alcoholics Anonymous, it's attraction rather than promotion. And I don't need to tell you what you are and diagnose you for you. Mm-hmm. I just need to keep doing what I'm doing and stay in my lane and be the member that I need to be. And whatever comes around, comes around. A month after I got sober, she got sober on her own. So we've been able to trudge this, not together, but together, right? I have my program. She has her program. I don't interfere in her shit. She doesn't interfere in mine, right? I go to men's stag meetings and mixed meetings. She goes to women's meeting and does her thing, right? I'm not her sponsor, nor do I want to be, and she is not mine, right? We stay out of each other's programs. But it's amazing that in this timeline of a solid 2 years and a month, if I'm, God willing, I'll get to 3, right? It's been amazing in this timeline that we've been able to get as close as we are today that we never have been before. Again, I make this joke that like we have these things that are really crazy in our household now with me and her whenever we do this thing where we sit and we like have a conversation. It's fucking crazy, right? Like she speaks and I listen and then I reply, I respond, and then I speak and she listens and then she responds. It's an amazing thing that I had never had an experience with before until I could get out of myself and not have a conversation with somebody just to respond or like to reply, right? Because most people have conversations that just, they listen to respond instead of listen to really take heed to what somebody's telling them. So it's things I've learned in Alcoholics Anonymous. As a result of this life, I've been able to do some amazing things. And now I'm at a place in my life that back in May of last year, I was in a pretty bad motorcycle accident, and I'm a commercial electrician. I was in a pretty bad motorcycle accident, and I couldn't go to work because as an electrician, you kind of want to be able to feel your hands, and I can't feel my hands still. So I started venturing into different things, and I had worked in treatment for quite a while before in early sobriety, and I was like, that's not for me. I don't want to be a tech. I don't want to pass out meds. I don't feel like that's me. So I left that. Excuse me. And in this past 9-10 months, I've met some amazing people, including Fausto, and some other people that are in my life today, and which introduced me to some other avenues of Magic House and Lift Off Recovery, and places that I am of complete support today. And was able to get an opportunity, and now I'm the director of business relations for Lift Off Recovery, and it's more of like it's more extensive than like a business development role in their company, where I came in and they were of sound body, mind, and spirit with this program, and they knew what direction they wanted to go into. And I came in and I rattled the cage and I changed a bunch of stuff in their program. And we changed the curriculum, we changed the dynamic, we changed the way we approach clients, we changed the way everything was going from before till today, because I knew that we could, as a company, be better. And as a result of that, today we have a really strong program, and I get the ability to be around newcomers on a daily basis and show them that there's a different way for people who still have issues that are getting past their issues, right? And be able to let them know that, you know, mental health and drug addiction are like peanut butter and jelly, and these things happen, and because we come with this, our walls up, like we need to be like strong, right? Like especially men, like I don't want to take medication, right? But we need that shit, especially when we're coming off of extreme amounts of heroin and fentanyl and methamphetamines. Like there's some things you need to stabilize your brain out a little bit, and that's okay, right? So just getting past the stigma and being able to talk to people with love and some grace and some empathy and all the things that I never had in my life before, I've been able to learn and get in my life today. And I really wouldn't change this shit for the world. I really wouldn't. I think I have an amazing life today with some people around me that always have my best interest. And I always tell newcomers as well, man, that you need to get a circle of some people of your gender that aren't fucking afraid to hurt your feelings, right? Because that coddling bullshit, that wouldn't have helped me. But the men that I had in my life were like, yo, you're stupid. That was the dumbest decision you could have made, right? But I understood it. I didn't take offense. I understood it, because that's the kind of people I've always had in my life. But they were actually wanting to see the better in me rather than me fail, or what I could do for them. It was about what I could do for myself to grow stronger. So, I mean, today's an amazing day. And as a result of all the work that I've done and the people I've been able to meet, I get to sit in this podcast and talk to people here and share my story with you guys. So that's my story.
With your wife on the couch.
With my wife on the couch. Yeah.
With my husband.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
My wife's hanging out with your husband on the couch. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
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 I know.
That was a heavy one, man.
It's incredible.
That was crazy. I knew it. I told him when he walked up the stairs, we got something tonight. Right? I said it.
You did.
I did.
I also said, I hope I don't let you down.
No, you didn't, bro. You didn't. Just wow.
That's just like that typical normal voice wanting to talk some shit.
Yeah.
That's it. It's
Yeah.
always, I always say it. Like, I have that voice though. She does not stop. She's working out 24/7, trying to take me out every single day. That's why
Definitely.
I have to stay on top of my game and work this program every day. I loved what you said when you, because you do hear that a lot with people, you know, going to treatment and like, oh, it didn't work for me. But like, when you really peel back the onion, a lot of times why it doesn't work is because usually you're just hoping like you're gonna soak something up, like you're working a solid ass program and I'm just gonna reap the benefits. It's like,
Yeah.
No. You gotta actually get the sponsor, it's all of the suggestions are for a reason.
I also think I never went to treatment for myself. It was always for the parole officer, for the her, for whoever, mommy to let me back in the house, you know? Because every like righteous dope fiend and gang member, like that's the first person we call, mommy, help me, right? So if you go to treatment, I'll let you back in, right?
For
So
sure.
that's what I did.
And look at you today.
And look at me today.
Yeah.
That was a great story, man.
Great
Amazing.
story.
A lot of similarities. I got
Yeah.
a lot of similarities to your story, and just go off the Richter scale at any moment, man. You know, and thank God we don't have to do that today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the powerful thing about the program is like the shit works. If you like, and it's so difficult to get uncomfortable with looking at yourself and having to, and I like what you said in the sense of when you came out, you didn't say anything to your wife. You just kept on doing what you needed to do for you.
Led by example.
Because that's what does happen, hopefully.
Yeah.
And obviously, I mean, she all of a sudden saw something in you in a month, but also what that shows too is, I mean, I guess I'm more so because my parents are extremely traditional. I'm Mexican Italian, so you can only imagine just like we got some fire, we got some heat in our blood.
Sure.
But you're the man of the house. You lead. She follows.
Absolutely.
And not in like this weird thing in this time where like that's a bad thing. No, that's good. If I was trying to lead in my household, I'm a tornado. I'm burning the city down and taking everything with me. But he steers the tornado, that being me, the tornado. And I could light up a whole city.
Sure.
So it's like, which one, you know? And I felt like that kind of pinned in my head just because it's important and it's strong. And that's what you learn in the program. You learn all of those things because you picked somebody that was polar opposite of you. So amazing story.
Yeah.
All right. Can we read the comments real quick? There's some good stuff up in there. We're gonna open up the meeting for sharing. So go ahead and raise your virtual hand if you would like to share, and we will call on you. Really quick, Chuck answered the question. The drug court judge is not out yet, but it'll be out soon.
Oh,
he was my drug court judge, and many others.
Your sponsor reminds Chuck of
his old sponsor. It was an amazing share,
Yeah,
dude. I
Yeah,
mean, look at all that.
Yeah,
look at all that.
Jennifer, amazing share. Amy.
Amazing. All right.
I also like that Jennifer's comment. She went to treatment for her sister, but she stayed on her 5. Like people say like if you're not here to AA for yourself, you're gonna relapse, right? But my wife didn't get sober for herself. She got sober because she didn't want to lose me, and then she stayed for herself. Right.
Because sometimes
I think
that
it's an
happens.
amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Like there is no way.
It clicks when it
exactly.
clicks, man. And you know, I'm not like the guy. Yeah, you know your rock bottom is when you put the shovel down.
Put the shovel down.
Absolutely. You can stop.
For sure.
You can stop the pain whenever you want. You know, you don't have to. Go to the lengths that maybe you went to.
Totally.
I mean, not everybody has to go to prison before they get clean.
Sure.
Hopefully not.
No.
You know,
I really hope they don't.
For sure.
It sucks.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Nobody raised their hand. Who wants to share? I'm gonna call on
shocked.
people.
I'm shocked that not one person raised their hand. That's crazy.
No, everyone's a little shy tonight. You know what? I really appreciate everything because I have 90 days, exactly 90 days longer than my wife when I came in. And we trudged for 2 years as well. We both smoked crack together. And so I really related to a lot of your stories, man.
Awesome.
Crazy, yeah.
Justin, you're up, buddy.
Justin.
Hi, thanks for your share.
Thank you.
Actually, it took me through a lot of different emotions, to be honest, because I worked very closely with a guy, and he was an alcoholic too. I was never like, alcohol was like always a gateway drug for me, but he was an alcoholic, and every day I remember stopping at the liquor store or stopping at 7-Eleven or something. And I found out a few months ago that he passed away, undoubtedly from his addiction. But I was also in a motorcycle accident. I know that's completely off topic, but I spent 5 months in the hospital, and it kind of derailed things for me. But man, I can just say that in listening to your story, and how using like the agreement that you had with your wife was, she said, don't bring drugs into my house. Cool. As soon as you did that, she gave you divorce papers. That to me, like, that's love, but that's tough love.
Super
and that's
tough.
what we need as men,
Yeah.
Because I can say, like, there's one person specifically that I know that I did a lot of my using with, and I'll say with loosely, because I was doing the using and she was just coming along for the ride, but not once was there ever this like heavy foot put down to be like, no, don't fucking do that. Like I was killing myself. This person picked me up and did CPR on me because I literally died on the floor, and this person brought me back to life. But not one point after that was there a, hey, don't do that anymore. Hey, you shouldn't do that anymore. But just in her saying that and your wife saying that to you, I mean, I think that's real love. And I think that's important for us to be around, It's important for us to really look at like who's around us and what kind of influence they have on us as well as us on them, And so, man, I just want to say congratulations, because we have about the same clean time actually. Mine's July 5th, and I'll have 3 years this July. So,
Awesome.
Amazing.
but yeah, congratulations. Thanks for your show.
Thank you very much.
Kristen.
Hi guys, I'm
Hello.
Kristen, alcoholic, and thanks for having me. That was a really great share. Something I love about, um, you know, sobriety, I guess, and program, is people with such different lifestyles and backgrounds and upbringings, have so much in common, right?
Mhm.
So much of what you said I could identify with. But I didn't have to go to prison to get sober. But so much of like how you were speaking about in the beginning, like those feelings of like not being good enough going away, like the first time you used or drank, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how it was for me too. And then my boyfriend, then we got married and turned husband. Like we we partied together, we used together, we drank together. He went next level, right? Started going into psychosis. It was gnarly. And after that he started on like a road to recovery, up and down and up and down, but never once did he ask me to stop drinking. I just kind of naturally faded out with like narcotics use, right? And then because I wanted to be supportive. Um, However, I was still smoking a lot of weed, right? And he asked me to stop doing that, and I did, because I wanted to stay in my marriage. But I never stopped drinking, right? 12 years went by, and then our son really started suffering, right? Horrible, right? On fentanyl. We didn't know it at first. And it really just like cracked open our family, right? Something that this disease does, it just cracks open families. And I had to start looking at myself, my own choices. I started going to Al Anon meetings. And that's how I was introduced to the 12 steps. And through working 12 steps through Al Anon, and doing a moral inventory, I realized that I really struggled with substance use as well, right? So hopped into the other side of the program, and I heard so much of myself in that program. Like I identified with so much stuff, and it was all these feelings I didn't even know I had because I had been suppressing them for so long, and just drinking a lot of wine all the time, right? Um, and so, man, it took me 12 years to finally like click the lights on, and but they're on now. And now that the lights are on, I feel like all of our family is in recovery now. And thanks to Chad, right? I started listening to this podcast and just DM Chad on a whim. I'm not like a social person. It was really awkward, but I just felt this calling to be like, yeah, I'm so down with what you guys are doing. And like, my son's really struggling. And Chad was like, hey, we offer scholarships. Let me know when he's ready to go. He happened to be at the lowest point in his life, right? And he was ready to go, and he went in. It was like, I don't even know, his 8th or 9th attempt at rehab. And this time it stuck, you know.
It's awesome.
That's amazing.
Mm.
That is amazing.
he's still in outpatient program. He's living at home with us. Like, our whole family is in recovery, and like we're all sober, and it's like the family that I wish I had growing up, you know, because a lot of my parentals and grandparentals and stuff struggle with alcoholism and addiction too. It's like we're creating that now, and my younger son can get to grow up in a much different household than I did, than our older son did, and my husband did. Um, so, anyways, thanks for sharing, and opening up and being so vulnerable with us, so we could do the same. And just, I really love what you guys are all doing. And thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks
it's
for
amazing.
sharing.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, we have about 10 minutes left. Currently, we have 1, 2, 3 more shares. People raising their hands, so keep your share to about 3 minutes.
Chuck.
At the 3-minute mark, you will hear. You ready? Ready, Emily, to push the button? Huh? No, I mean push the hand clap button. So at the 3-minute mark, you'll hear the hand clap button. Chuck already knows the
Yeah.
deal. What's up, Chuck?
Hi, Chuck.
What's up, guys? How are you guys doing today?
Amazing.
Good.
Great share tonight. Like I said about my sponsor, he was a complete polar opposite of me. Very calm, very cool, collective. Taught me how to harness my anger a lot of times, because I have a bad anger issue at times. Till at least still to this day. I mean, I'm human, but a lot better than it used to be. I miss him every day too, because he passed away a couple years ago, even though I have another sponsor now. But he taught me a lot how to grow up. And I like how Natalie brought up the term peeling the onion back. And I know my buddy Bob, Big Bob, always says that a lot of times when we put that drink away, and now I got to work on myself. And all I got is me. And, you know, it just, a lot of gems were thrown out during this whole conversation. And where could I go with that? And for me, man, I know about the chaotic family. You know, my father's a recovering alcoholic, and I remember bits and pieces of the chaotic family times when he was still drinking and traveling. He was never really home. My mom had to play Mr. Mom a lot of times, and you know, living with five women at one time, and my twin sister, my older sister, and a friend. And my brother didn't live there, so I kind of had to grow up myself too. Kind of had to learn a lot of things on my own and hang out with buddies, and that didn't teach me much of anything, but just get in trouble. So I there's a lot of similarities there, and I can relate to a lot of these things that were said tonight. And like piggybacking off what Justin said. And good stuff tonight. That's all I got.
Awesome.
Thanks, Chuck.
Thanks, Chuck.
Julian, you're up.
What's going on? What's going on, you guys?
Julian.
Turn that up, bro. Turn yours up. Yeah. I just wanna thank you for the share. I had a lot of similarities too. Excuse my voice. Just the fact that, you know, didn't know how to be responsible, meeting connections in the joint, coming home from the joint, and your friends, your so-called friends, giving you packages like, yo, here, man, like thinking that was the right thing to do. Like, it was just crazy. But I just want to share. I remember my second time coming home from jail. I came home, thought I can just chill by the liquor store, which was a block away from my neighborhood where I grew up at, where I sold drugs, got high, did robberies on all that stuff, right? But I thought I could just chill by the liquor store and think that I'm not gonna get into nothing. And I just started to ease back to the hood. And I ended up relapsing. I went from, drinking a little to smoking a little weed and right back to, doing heroin. And it got worse. I started shooting heroin. So, but, after that, man, I went back to jail in '06 and I did 8.5 years. And it was a blessing for me when I got locked up because it helped me to work on myself, to love myself, and I found a why and I found a purpose. And I see that you did the same thing when you got locked up that last time. You know what I'm saying? That connection you had with your wife, it was a connection that you didn't have in a long time.
Yeah.
And like you said, you spoke the most at that time. It was like, man, that's a beautiful thing. Communication is so big in a relationship, and that was something I didn't have throughout my times getting high and so on and so forth. But when I found my why, I came home and I found my purpose and I made things happen. So I just want to, hats off to you, brother, for doing what you're doing. Keep pushing, man. My line's open for you. I'm over here on the east side, but my line's open for you, man. If you get weak, I'm just offering that out. That's just what I do.
I appreciate
Keep pushing, man. They say where focus go, energy flows.
Yeah.
Keep pushing, man. You got this, man.
Thank you.
And I'm out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome,
Julian.
Julian. Thank you, man. Now we're gonna find out what.
Hey, Frank, how you doing, buddy? Frank, what's that real wood behind you there? Or
That's some drywall.
is that drywall?
Stay on the job site?
Ryan, what's going on, man?
You got to unmute it.
Yeah.
I think it's
See, you can't go Ryan. But you can go Frankie.
Okay,
Frankie.
Ryan, just touch the screen, hit the unmute button.
Yeah.
there you go.
No.
Nope.
No.
Almost.
Touch it once.
Bottom left.
Bottom left there. Yeah. No, he's shaking it. No.
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 You might have to keep. Sometimes it does that though on the phone.
Yeah.
You have to keep touching it, and then it'll show the bar. And then it'll come up, or it should.
Can you see on your phone at the bottom there when you touch it?
At the bottom there. There you go.
There.
What happens when you ask him
Actually,
that?
it hit the. Oh, that shit usually pops up on the screen.
All right. Well, here we go.
No. Dang.
I have to go into setting. All right, guys. Well, this was an amazing meeting as always. I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
our Recover Out Loud
Fuck
meeting.
yeah, man. Just drained me. You know?
Drained in a good way.
In a great way, yeah.
Nice. It
'Cause
filled,
we were all
it filled
I
me
mean-
up.
Yeah, me too.
Well,
I
you know what
got
I'm
filled
saying.
up.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah, in,
great share.
Canada, if you get drained, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But in America, when you get drained, that's not a good thing.
It's okay, Shane.
Everyone's picking on me.
He'll be okay, guys.
I'll be
Yeah.
all right. Yeah, great show though. Wow,
Super
took
good.
me on a roller coaster, man. Up and down with the father, and then the shit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good share, man.
Yeah.
You're a good storyteller. I literally was picturing you running the streets
of it.
I mean, in my mind, you were at like, Fullerton, Garden Grove area. Just in my mind. I don't know where you,
Picturing the
I don't
bike,
know.
I'm
I don't
just
know
like,
where you
yeah.
really were.
That's exactly where I was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's exactly where I was. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
could just see that shit in my mind, just running around.
That's awesome.
All that crazy shit,
That's
street
cool.
shit
Yeah,
that you
man.
do when you're all
Yeah.
fucking tweaked out
Yeah.
on meth and you haven't slept in like
Yeah.
however many
Yeah.
days.
Yeah, you have to hit a ball road something in
Yeah.
Orange County
Oh
whenever
my
you're
God,
loaded.
Totally.
Taking people hostage,
Yeah.
man.
You have to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to release my hostages though because they would they'd be fucking like, I'm thinking they were setting me up with this and that, and I was just bad.
I
all
couldn't
bad.
hang with anybody.
I couldn't either,
No,
man.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Anyways, super grateful, guys.
Such a good share.
Amazing share, amazing meeting. We will see you guys next week. We got a couple things we need to do before we end this. If everybody can turn on their camera real quick, that wants to turn on their camera.
Yeah.
Then once you get your camera on, put your hands up in the air like this.
I know we're doing
Because it's my birthday.
Birthday.
Yesterday was
Happy
my
50.
birthday.
Happy
And
50.
50 years
Happy
old.
50.
That's a half a century. Hit the button. Let's go.
I'm still waiting on new music.
I mean,
We can find something else that's not copyrighted.
Yeah.
well, we have a rap song that
we
was
have a rap
written
song.
for
You
us.
heard
It's
it
called the
Oh,
Hopeaholics.
Yeah, we could do that one.
So we should figure out how to
How to do
load
that
that
one.
song
Yeah.
Good idea.
onto.
Did you say load that thong? I just got back from Mexico. I might have sworn you said thong.
I said song.
Song.
I said load that song
So it-
onto our
yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I just yeah.
thong.
Thong.
It's okay.
It's the thong song. Do you guys
Thong,
remember it? You
thong,
guys
thong,
remember the
thong.
thong song?
Yeah, Luke-
I was-
How could you not?
half the
Right.
people on here might not be old enough to know the thong song. Though.
Yeah,
You got to be
that's true.
like over 30, I think.
Yeah, at
For
least.
sure.
Maybe 35.
Definitely.
Yeah, we're like 40.
Calm-
All right.
calm
Who
down.
wants to lead
I
us out
say-
in prayer?
I say Andre
Okay.
does.
Huh?
I say Andre does.
Who's Andre?
Andre.
Andre. Is that his name?
That's my name.
That's his
Okay,
name.
I thought it was Risky.
Yeah, it's both.
No,
Yeah.
his
Oh.
wife doesn't like.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll never call
Yeah.
him that.
That's
I
it.
apologize. We'll
That name-
apologize.
Yeah.
that name-
You want
He's
lead-
accepted it now. It's all good.
Lead us out in the Serenity Prayer.
Yeah,
Sure.
brother.
And then we'll see you guys next week
Yeah,
after
thank
the
you
prayer.
guys.
Yeah.
God,
God,
God.
grant me
grant
the
me
serenity
to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Amen.
Amen. Keep coming back.
Keep
It
coming
works
back.
if you work it.
Wow. Just another great day.
You guys can't hear them though. Huh?
No.
Oh, that's why I was looking over
I know.
I know. I'm like, I don't know what she's. I can't.
It's because